Welcome back, everybody. This is the World Business Forum in Milan 2022 edition, and Talben Shahar, American author and writer, is joining me for an interview. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, what are the main topics that you're going to touch on during the World Business Forum 2022?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about happiness and how it applies to the world of business and specifically to leadership.
Yeah, this is very important topic considering the fact that specifically the labor market has changed a lot in the US, and not only, but mostly in the US post-pandemic. So how important is happiness, being happy at your workplace, being happy at the perspectives and your future goals and everything that gives you in terms of values to your company?
Yeah, so happiness has always been important in a business for leadership because if you increase levels of happiness, even by a little bit, even by 3-4%, what you immediately see is a significant increase in innovation, in creativity levels. You increase levels of happiness even by a little bit, what you find is more engagement. What you find is higher levels of productivity. And as happiness levels increase, retention rates go up. And today, they're much less likely to leave, much more likely to stay if we also focus on their well-being.
So, do you think that leaders and managers are actually paying enough attention to this factor? And I'm referring to happiness.
They're not. Why? Because happiness is seen as something which is perhaps nice to have. So why don't we bring a speaker on happiness, for our Christmas party, for example? What managers don't realize, most of them, is that it's a competitive advantage. Not only that especially post-pandemic, it's an absolute necessity. Because if we don't think about the well-being of our employees, our top employees will leave. Peter Drucker, who's considered the father of modern management studies, said that managers need to leave their employees, especially their top employees, as volunteers. Why? Because they have other options, because they can leave. Well, today, this applies even more so. More and more employees are leaving the workplaces. We're losing valuable human capital because we do not only, but also focus on well-being. So the traditional KPIs are still important, and we need to add well-being, happiness to it.
Yeah, that's absolutely important. I was wondering, right now we're in a labor market which is, let's say, there are many open positions, specifically in the US, compared to people who are actually trying to find a job. Do you think this is also a huge factor for the Great Resignation? Because, for example, in absence of work, when you need money, probably you, how can I say, pay less attention to your happiness.
Yes, so when people have choices, of course, happiness becomes more important. But it's not just for the fact that they'll stay in the work, it's also what will they do when they stay. So if we want peak performance, if we want the best from our employees, if we want them to be engaged, if we want them to be innovative, if we want good teamwork in our company, then what we need to do is focus on the happiness of our employees. Happiness is a good investment. It pays. It pays for the individual. It pays for the organization.
Look, I totally agree with you. And final take, do you think leaders and managers actually received the message? You're trying to spread, I guess, among the business community, both here in Milan and everywhere.
Yeah, I think that managers are becoming more and more receptive to it for various reasons. First of all, they see what's happening to themselves, they see what's happening in their families, and they realize how important it is, especially these days with stress levels skyrocketing, with depression levels growing, especially today, how important it is to focus on individual well-being as well as group and organizational well-being. You see, because when we come to work, we don't leave our emotions at home. They come with us. We need to look at the whole person, not just parts of it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ben Shahar, American writer and author. Thank you for joining us.